2, 1, go.
Good evening, everyone. Mike from Know Your Rights Group and Success Coaching International with another important live video update. Unless you've been hiding under a rock, you've no doubt heard that the news of the day is that Dictator Dan has brought in the next level of restrictions. Already come into effect as of 6 p.m. tonight now in Victoria. You're not allowed to be more than 5 kilometres away from your home. You can't go out and exercise with one other person, and a whole range of things which we'll be covering in the coming days. But the key words that he's used today is that he has declared a state of disaster. Okay, and that's what we're going to be looking at in tonight's video. But before I address that, I want to address everyone who's watching from any other state other than Victoria, especially those ones who are sitting back going, oh, those poor Victorians. Oh, lucky it's not us. It's been a nice day. We've had some relative freedom. Okay, these same restrictions or ones very similar are coming to you very soon, all but guaranteed. As I've explained on numerous videos before, Victoria is the guinea pig for the rest of the country. They trial and test and they see what they can get away with here. They'll see what Victorians will put up with. They'll go, yep, we can push that far, and then they do it in other states. Okay, these things are coming to you already. Sydney-siders can no longer travel now to Queensland. Okay, there's further restrictions that are all but imminent for New South Wales. A number of people are already reporting that Queensland is going to be in some form of renewed lockdown before the end of this month. One of our members in Queensland, okay, got this message from Woolworths. Okay, I mean, this is just straight out of the social engineering handbook. And it says, you know, dear customer, while wearing a face covering is not mandatory in Queensland, we feel it's important that collectively we make face coverings feel as normal as possible. They are trying to condition people to this normality of wearing a mask already in Queensland. If that doesn't tell you what's coming, we don't know what does. Okay? Now, of course, the media is going to blame it on those few rebellious Victorians that, broke through the checkpoints and didn't self-quarantine and all the rest of it. And again, that's all just part of the media's divide and conquer, so that we're all fighting each other instead of course, fighting the ones we should be fighting, and that is those ministers, Prime Minister, Premier, those in power who are doing these things to us. Okay? Now, the one thing that I want people around the entire country to be aware of is don't fall for this, oh, but it won't happen here. Okay, Victorians were all excited, believe me, just a few months ago when everything started opening up again. Okay, they all thought, oh, everything's getting back to normal. Okay, but this is clearly not normal. Things have gotten significantly worse. All right. Now, if I had $1 for everyone that's come up to me in the last 24 hours, this is including friends and family that I know that follow all this stuff that we do and go, oh, but I didn't think it was going to get this bad. Well, it has gotten this bad. It is this bad. Okay, so wherever you are watching this from, whatever state you're in, okay, don't think that it can't happen there, because that's what Victorians thought too. Have a look what's happening down here in Victoria and be prepared, be armed, be forewarned, and be proactive, and don't let it happen to you. Okay? Now I'm asking everyone to please take action now before it's too late, before all shit hits the fan wherever you are. Okay? Because I get this all the time. Every week someone emails me, oh Mike, I've got a fine that's going to cause me to lose my license. You know, what should I do? What did you do with the other 4 or 5 fines that didn't cause you to lose your license? Oh, I just paid them. Right. Well, what do you want to do now at the 11th hour? Okay? That's why I've been telling people about this Aussie speeding fines book since like the last 10 years. Okay? Grab it. Just grab it. If you're a motorist in this country, just get it. It's that simple. Okay, I can't make it any easier. There's a link in the description. Don't wait until you get a fine. Do it now so that you're prepared before you get a fine, before the inevitable happens. It's like $100. Okay, it's the best motoring investment you'll make. Just go and do it. Then there's the other people that go, oh, Mike, I've got a debt collector who's just placed a default against my credit rating. What can I do to get it taken off? Well, very little. Because you didn't set things up correctly in the first place. You didn't create that paper trail, which is so vitally important. Because again, if you'd followed the steps in this book, if you'd written the letters, you'd created the paper trail, most likely you never would have had that default listed, and if it was listed, then you could refer to the paper trail to have it removed. Again, don't wait until they're knocking on the door, sending you final letters of demand. Get these books now. Get this information now. Okay? Then there's all the people that, that email through, oh, I've got a huge ATO debt. What can I do? Oh, the council's taking me to court over unpaid rates. What do I do? Oh, Mike, I just bought a house, but I didn't know I should have done it in a trust. I just want to transfer it. You can't just transfer it. You're going to pay stamp duty and transfer fees again. You've got to set things up correctly beforehand, and this is why we keep referring people to this Know Your Rights book. All the information is there that you need to know before you go getting yourself into these situations, before you get yourself into trouble. Okay? Learn the law before you fall foul of it. Okay? So grab those. All right? Now, I just want to, again, I want people to preempt. I want people to think a few steps ahead, because we've been all so conditioned by the media. We wear these blindfolds and we just look at what's directly in front of us rather than looking a few steps ahead. Oh, what's this going to lead to? Or what could that lead to? Or what might they do with that? Remember, we've still got those bail-in laws just sitting there. Now, do you think they're just sitting there for no good reason? Or do you think they're sitting there because they've got a plan for them? Of course they do. Okay? Do you think that the mandatory vaccination laws they brought in a few years ago are just sitting there for the hell of it? Or do you think that they're sitting there because they're going to rely on them and use them down the track at some point? Of course. Okay? Think a few steps ahead. This is all a chess game. But they know most people think just one move ahead and that's it. And that's why they're always 3 or 4 steps ahead. And people get blindsided going, oh, I didn't think our government would do that. Why not? Because they don't know what their government's done to them already. They think the government loves them and cares about them and wants to look after them. Yeah, right. Okay? Think a few steps ahead. Dan Andrews has already today brought in severe restrictions. He's already preempted. He's going to bring in further restrictions tomorrow. These are going to relate to businesses. Now, basically anything other than essential businesses, supermarkets, petrol stations, chemists, things like that, are going to, in essence, by the sounds of it, be completely shut down. Now, we've already preempted that. As soon as the news was confirmed today that was doing the rounds, we got in touch with our printers today, yes, on a Sunday, and we said, get us books, because people are going to want these. Okay? Print as many as you can. Print our books, print the other guys' books, just print them all. They've gone, rightio, no worries. They're not going to last. Okay? We're about to go into further restrictions. New South Wales is about to go into further restrictions. Queensland won't be far behind. These books will sell out. Don't wait until the last minute. Grab them now. All right, that being said, I want to get on to these restrictions and the ones that have just come in, why they're unlawful, and why knowing your rights is more important now than ever before. And I feel like I say that every couple of days, but they keep escalating things and people keep allowing them to get away with it. It's just absolutely crazy. Okay? We are going to very soon have no rights left. Dan Andrews, even in his speech today, came out and said, it's not about rights, it's about saving lives. What the hell? What happened to all lives matter? Weren't they the memes that were going around just a few weeks ago when they had all the Black Lives Matter? No, it's not Black Lives Matter, all lives matter. Okay, what about the thousands, if not tens of thousands of people that are on the verge of suicide right now because of these restrictions? Okay, because of these unlawful directives. What about those lives mattering? Okay, all lives matter. Now, Dictator Dan has declared a state of disaster. But based on what? Now, this is where we need to look at the legislation. This is where we urge people, don't blindly listen to anything I say. Go and look it up and confirm, verify, validate it for yourselves. So, I urge you, go to the Emergency Management Act of 2013. Now, Section 15(1)(a) says that Emergency Management Victoria, okay, which is the one that runs the Act, is a body corporate. Okay, 15(1)(c) clearly says that it may sue and be sued. Therefore, by definition, it is just a corporation. Okay, now you can go and look them up on the ABN lookup site. This is on ASIC. Okay, I did this afternoon to show you all. Okay, so this is the extract, EMV, Emergency Management Victoria. It's a business under the Department of Justice and Regulation, and it says unincorporated entity. It's an unincorporated entity. It may as well be a footy or soccer club. Okay? This is who is running the show. And most people haven't got a clue. Okay? We'll keep going. Section 17(2)(b) says that Emergency Management Victoria are to provide policy advice to ministers. Since when did corporations provide policy advice? Okay, that'd be like Bunnings or Coles, providing policy advice to the government. That's crazy. Look what happened just a couple of weeks ago when Woolworths sort of stepped up and said, oh, look, we're not going to force people to wear masks in our store because there could be plenty of reasons why. Well, they got whipped straight back into line. Okay? Governments tell corporations what to do, not the other way around. Okay, Section 19 stipulates that Emergency Management Victoria may, by instrument, delegate any function or power. So there we have again the requirement for that instrument of delegation that I've spoken about on many of these videos before. Section 31 also talks about the Commissioner being able to delegate by instrument. Section 20 refers to the Chief Executive. What does that sound like? Chief Executive Officer, CEO? Again, this is all corporation. It's all corporate. Okay, now things start to really get a bit juicy when we start looking at Section 67. Now that stipulates that the Inspector General must, not may, take notice of data from the Coroner, Victoria Police, Department of Public Prosecution, IBAC, etc. So, where is this data that they are relying on to declare this state of disaster? Okay, now, at best or worst, depending on how you choose to look at it, the government statistics show that 123 people in the state of Victoria have been listed as a COVID-related death. Now, on my last video that I did, I asked the question, what does COVID-related mean? Does it mean they died of COVID or that they died with COVID? Okay, there's a big distinction. All right? Now, I've also explained that I've heard from three different sources over the last couple of weeks where nursing homes and aged care facilities were approaching the families of people who passed away and said to them, listen, we will cover your funeral expenses if you allow us to put COVID-19 on the death certificate. Now, of course, these families are all distraught. They don't want thousands and thousands of dollars in funeral. So, of course, they say yes. So this 123, is it died of COVID or with COVID? Is it a real death from COVID or is it one of these ones where the nursing home or aged care facility just paid to put that on? Okay, now I'm not saying this is or isn't happening, but we should keep these things in mind when we look at this figure of 123. Now, we also need to factor in, again, as I've said before, as sad as it is, as unfortunate it is, majority of these people have been over the age of 70 or 80 and they've had other underlying conditions. Now, given the number of flu deaths that occur each and every year, do these statistics really justify declaring a state of disaster? Now, I don't know. I don't have the answer, but I'd certainly like it. And if any of you would like the answer to that question as well, this is a perfect opportunity to draft a simple FOI request to the government and ask them, can you please provide me with a copy of the documents that you relied upon before declaring a state of disaster? And send that off and let's see if we can get a simple answer to those questions. Okay? Now, again, we keep hearing from the media, how many cases, how many new cases of COVID there were each day. But again, as I've said on previous videos, they are not new cases of COVID. They were there the day before, the week before, possibly even longer. They're just detected cases of COVID. Okay? And most of those people are perfectly fine and would have remained so whether they were detected or not. Again, does it really matter how many people are detected to have it, since 99% of people who have it will recover? Does it not really only matter who's going to die from it? Isn't that what our government is supposed to be doing? Keeping us safe from deaths? Not keeping us safe from something that will barely cause anything more than just a runny nose for most people. I mean, does the government rush out and, save everyone, the millions of people that suffer from hay fever each year because they've got a runny nose? I mean, it's crazy. Okay? Now, again, if the government wants to stop deaths, which is very admirable. But again, there's only two certainties in life: death and taxes. Well, we're working on the latter. There's not much we can do about the former. Okay, death is inevitable. Okay, but if they want to prolong life a little bit or whatever, then protect the elderly and the vulnerable. Okay, the government themselves admit the majority of cases have come from these aged care facilities and nursing homes. So Dictator Dan should be calling in the army and getting the army to run those facilities and let everybody else get on with their lives and let their immune systems take care of them. Okay, just like it has in Sweden with that herd immunity. This is what we should be doing. Okay, we also know there's been far more deaths from suicide than there's been from any of this COVID-19. Now, I'm not in any way, shape or form suggesting that there's any way to compare the value of one life, to another. But beyond that, we can look at the reality of the situation, that you've got these 70, 80, 90-year-olds who've had underlying conditions, who've had long, fulfilling lives, that are passing away from something that they would have probably passed away from something similar anyway, as opposed to these people committing suicide who are in their 40s and 50s, they're family men and women, they've got people relying on them, they're significantly younger, they've got their whole lives or at least half their lives ahead of them. Completely different, set of circumstances. Okay, and those suicide numbers are going to significantly increase in the coming weeks and months if we allow, and yes, I'm telling you, it's us collectively, apathetically sitting on our backsides that allows Dan Andrews to get away with these new directives. And equally, it's going to be you in other states watching this that allow your leaders to do the same. Now, I did a video on Thursday night outlining the need to balance people's rights with their responsibilities. Now, some people seem to think, we were going soft and suggesting that people should stop standing up for themselves. That's not the point of that video at all. That wasn't what we were saying. Absolutely, you need to stand up for your rights. You've got to encourage other people to do the same, but don't be belligerent about it. Just be nice, and for the love of God, don't just post it all over social media, okay? That's not what we want people doing, but we definitely want people standing up, now more so than ever before. When people need to take responsibility for their lives, they also need, okay, to know what their rights are. Now, Dan Andrews came out today and said it was his belief that these restrictions were what needed. He said, this is why I'm standing here having this press conference. Well, that's fantastic, mate. How about you put your money where your mouth is? If you believe this is what's needed, then you step up and pay for it. Because I can tell you a lot of the small and medium-sized business owners that I know, that I deal with through my success coaching business, they do not believe that. Okay, they do not believe that at all. So if that's your belief, Dan Andrews, and that's what you want to do, great. Then fork out some money and start paying for the destruction that you're causing. You want us to take responsibility? You want us to stay at home? You want us to wear masks? Great. Put your money where your mouth is and you pay for that. And let's see how much you believe it then. Because right now he's sitting on his backside earning his $460,000 a year, just standing there making, puffing out his chest and telling everyone what a great guy he is. Okay? It's time for you, Dan Andrews, to take responsibility. You want us to do it? Be a leader. Lead by example. Take responsibility. If this is what must be done to save the lives of Victorians, then pay for it. Okay? Don't be telling us what to do when you're not prepared to do it yourself. That is a very poor leadership quality. Very poor indeed. Okay? Because the way I see it, we have a completely out of control Premier who is paying people to go and get tested. Okay? That's artificially increasing the numbers of positive tests each day. He then relies on those test results to force people to wear masks, which reduce people's oxygen intake. They're never worn in any real medical facility where an actual virus, exists. It's okay for you to pull your mask up and down and sit there and have a fag and a cigarette, put your grubby fingers all over it, pull it up and down, go and touch all the fruit and veggies in the supermarket, do all that, okay? I mean, it's insane, all right? But he's telling us that, this is what's needed. But the precious data that Dan Andrews always relies on himself shows that that is not the case. We've been wearing these masks and staying further restricted for, over a week and a half now, and the numbers have gone through the roof. There's your evidence, Dan, that what you're doing isn't working. I said on the last video, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing again and again, expecting a different result. Okay, it's not working. Okay, the numbers are continuing to rise. But what he's doing now is he's using that increase in numbers as a the justification for further restrictions, which are going to hugely impact already the old, the sick, the dying people in society. It's going to impact them, but now of course it's going to adversely affect healthy people as well, mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, the whole lot. He's going to shut everything down, okay, including most of the testing facilities. And then, of course, when the mobile testing facilities close, they're going to conduct less tests. There's going to be less positive results. And Dan's going to sit there and say, see, told you those restrictions were what we needed. Look how the numbers have gone down. Okay? He's then going to show the other states, look how this system worked. And they're going to go, yeah, great, let's do it as well. Okay? This is what's happening. Okay? It's going to be replicated across the whole country once it's a proven system in Victoria, which is all but said and done. Okay, they're destroying everyone's businesses. They're destroying their livelihoods. They're going to end up with complete financial, physical, mental, and eventually medical control over everyone. So again, I'll ask you the same question I asked a few videos ago. Where do you draw your line? How much more of this insanity are you going to allow? How much longer are you going to live in fear? Okay, I honestly thought that people would have well and truly answered those questions right now, by now, and taken congruent action in line with those answers. But given what's happened in the last couple of months, given what's happened today, and given what's going to happen in the coming months, it just doesn't look like that's the case. All right, I really do look forward to many, many, many of you out there proving me wrong by way of your actions in the very near future. Please, more than happy to be proven wrong. Okay. So for those of you in Victoria who are now being subjected to even harsher restrictions, which are going to increase even more tomorrow, for those of you in other states, I urge you all, as always, grab this Know Your Rights book. Okay? Get informed, get fired up, and get proactive. Okay? There are links in the description. A final reminder, we've also created the new triple combo pack where you can get all 3 of these books at a discounted price, save on the postage in the one link. It's on our ebook page. Again, there's a link in the description on this video. These books will sell out. We are about to lock down businesses for the next 6 weeks. We will run out. So whether you get yours sooner or later is entirely up to you. Any orders that are put in tonight will be sent out via express post tomorrow. You'll hopefully get them before any harsher restrictions are brought in wherever you are. So I'm going to leave it there for tonight. Please give this some serious thought because things are now getting really, really serious. I'll talk to you all on our radio show on Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. Thank you.